land, the Gadigal people, and paying respects to elders, past, present, and certainly in the future. So we're keeping it hip hop, but we're also keeping it, you know, I don't know, like in the fams. So I brought the homies here. Well, first of all, I invited you. I did invite you, but Ron's the gram, RONSTOPPABLE tattoos, however you want to be known. And then, man, I couldn't pass up this opportunity because I haven't seen this man for too long. And Tyson, the Lord Mayor, Lord Mayor of the entire Bankstown
The Thought
line.
Lord.
I don't know. You're not doing Thought Lord anymore, though, eh?
No, I've changed my ways. I'm not as promiscuous as I used to be.
I don't think you were ever promiscuous. You were always a man of the people and man of the ladies.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I think promiscuous is too dangerous a word.
Yeah, you're not Nelly Furtado, so let's just, is that? Wait, was it promiscuous?
Yeah,
girl?
promiscuous girl.
I knew that. But anyway, look, I think the reason why I wanted to get you guys in is because, you know, obviously it's about hip hop and associates, and I think that with hip hop and me being around and being in the hip hop scene, I come across people that I feel are still part of the culture, or in a certain way. But also, man, it's just really about the area and people I've grown up with and or been around, and man, I've got a massive respect for dude, Ron, your fucking art, bro, is insane.
Thank you.
Nah, and then when I got the opportunity to have Tice here, who's fucking just an all-round general fucking sick dude, and also
a good artist too,
and an artist responsible for some of the ones that I get most comments on.
Hectic.
I thought, it would be an opportunity to bring you guys down and, man, shed some light on, I think, a scene. We don't want to shed too much light on the scene. Yeah. but I think...
Keep it PG.
Keep it PG, but I think it's just one of those things where people probably don't get enough, insight to. But before I fucking go into anything, tell me about yourself, baby. So, where'd you grow up? You first. Come on, man.
All right,
we all know where Tyson's from. Shit, look at him. He's draped.
Cause what?
He's from the area. We're from the area, but he's from the area.
Yeah. The area, but then there's the actual it's the area. That's where he's from, exactly. So
actually,
anyway.
Funny thing how you're just saying about, with this podcast, trying to keep it hip hop, keep it with the culture. I actually first met you at a hip hop event. Years back.
You're lying.
Nah, years back.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a break dancer, a hip hop dancer. So there was this hip hop event. I think it could have been Bankstown area. It could have been a Bankstown, a local event, or in Parramatta. Actually, it was in the Roxy.
The Roxy.
It was in the Roxy. It was in the Roxy, and
I think you've told me this.
Yeah.
Was I
my crew was, had to do a little dance thing, and then
see how you just structured off a little dancing. Cunts are probably spinning on their heads, but it was just a little dancing.
Yeah, and then shout out to my old dance crew, DMK and the Chicky Bombs.
Yeah. Wait, Merv.
Merv. He was in 463, but yeah,
Merv Victorino.
Yeah, we actually
shout out to Merv Victorino.
Shout out to Merv's. Yeah, he's one of the boys as well. So actually he let me practice on his leg when I was an apprentice too. Anyways, yeah. So
I'm telling you, this is exactly why we do this fucking podcast. But it's going to be
he's a fellow Bankstown boy as well. He's from the area too.
Yes, the boys. So yeah.
Anyways, yeah. And the first time I met you is because you were the first person that I see verbal scratch, and it blew my mind.
What? Verbal what?
All that shit.
Yeah.
Verbal.
Yeah. This was the early 2000s. This is early 2000s, and he was the first one I did that. Everyone beatbox.
Yeah.
But when he was rapping, he'd verbal scratch when he was rapping in one of his sets, and it blew my mind. And
here we go.
Yeah, I had to after the show, I had to suck his dick. Hey man.
Yeah, babe, I swear, he did suck my dick, sweetheart, because I know my girl's watching. Ron did not suck my dick at any time. It's fine. But anyway, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I was like, man, that was mate. Yeah, so that was the first time I met you.
It's fucking mad love. But so.
So back to my question.
Where'd you grow up, bro?
So back to the question.
But that's fucking
back
you
to
know
the
what?
question.
That's a sick like trip down memory lane because R.I.P. Roxy.
Yeah.
'Cause it was
Oh
like-
yeah, it's gone now.
It's gone, eh?
That was actually haunted.
Is it?
Yeah, it was haunted. The old theatre, there was. You ask anyone that works there, there's always apparitions, like people sitting up the top and stuff like that all the time.
Oh, fuck that. I know that you'd have a problem with that.
Nah, I got no issues.
Are you going to be going down
I'd be having issues if they were, hanging around, go with that mouth thing,
I'd be having trouble if they were sucking my... No,
Yeah.
This reminds me of that
PG.
scene in the Ghostbusters. Do you remember that? No, anyway. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so yeah,
area. Back
where was the area?
So the area I grew up in, Minchinbury, Mount Druitt. Yeah, my parents are still there now, and yeah, I started out as a dancer. That's where I met you, and then after dancing, I quit dancing to become a Muay Thai fighter. So I fought for Full Force Gym in Blacktown, and then I quit fighting to pursue tattooing. Woo! So
God damn! From the
that's my
area
story.
to all the areas.
Yeah.
Tice.
Yeah.
I have to ask,
Yeah.
even though we all know where you're from, but where you from?
Belmore,
Yeah,
home of the Brave,
absolutely.
home of Canterbury Bulldogs.
Home of Belmore Oval.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen.
Amen.
Born and bred.
No, I was actually born in St. Leonard's in North Sydney.
Shout out to Molotov.
Shout out to the
Molotov
North
to the
Sure.
yuppies, the north side yuppies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Those guys.
That's what you got your high taste for, ladies. I don't even know what that means,
Oh,
but yeah,
I thought you were
that
going
made
to
sense
say
a bit.
that's why you...
Got a high taste for Coke. No, joking.
Whoa,
Whoa, man.
Whoa.
Coca-Cola is
Whoa.
no.
You
I
want to
believe in
talk about the
Pepsi
North
Max.
Sydney Bears, and this guy wants to fondle with
Shout out to the
ladies.
North Sydney Bears and the best NRL retro jerseys.
100%. 100%.
All right, but you can't
Yeah.
be caught dead in that though.
Sorry?
You can't be caught dead in a North Sydney Bears jersey.
Of course I can.
Okay.
I can walk around naked. Nah, I can't because my mum will slap me. But, I mean around the area and that.
It's true.
I won't do
the
that.
area and that.
I won't ever do it. I won't never ever disrespect the area like that.
No, you can't. Otherwise, the area will get you.
Yeah.
In school, right? I want to talk about school years. Where'd you go to school?
I went to St. Agnes, represent Rudy Hill. Then I went to Loyola, Mount Druitt, represent Loyola. It's not there anymore. They closed the school down because there was
Because of 1-4.
it's,
No, I just
Who
know
wants
everything on
smoke?
1-4. No jokes.
That's
Shout out
it.
to 1-4.
no, we had a very high failure.
Yo,
That's the same school that me and Ricky went to.
You went to Loyola?
Loyola.
Represent.
Shout
Loyola
outs, shout
represent.
outs.
Wait, it's not there anymore?
No, they made it into a technical college,
What does that mean?
like where you learn technical things.
So they're like technically it's not a school.
Technically, it's not. Technically not. Yeah.
If anyone's going there, like I'm sure you're educated as well. Like,
Yeah, but it's funny. I actually had nieces and nephews there, and that school actually started doing random drug testing at the school.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
But yeah, shout out to the people in the area because we don't take drugs. But it was just the school was. It was just wild. The teachers were wild.
What about like in school and like maybe this is sort of for both of you, but it's interesting because you start out with breaking and shit like that. Like, what were your interests in school? Were your interests in school? Were you fucking good at school? Like, were you distracted at school? Were you social at school?
To be honest, I was so shit in school, man.
Because you got to be fucking relatively smart to be where you are now. Like, were you just not like
why? Just because I'm
smart?
Asian?
Yeah, bro. Fucking hell, straight A's.
Nah, I was honestly, yeah.
Did you?
Nah, I had the worst. I was in the lowest maths called maths in practice.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called maths. But my parents, they used to say, "Oh, what's this maths in practice?" Mum, I'm good at it. I'm just
Practicing.
yeah, but yeah,
Hectic.
Corona. So
Bro, really?
Yeah.
I coughed into my elbow though, so it's default not.
But I excelled in arts and stuff like that. Arts, photography, all that creative stuff. But if you told me to write an essay, just couldn't do it, man.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking focus in books. What about you, Tyson?
No, I like to say I was a good kid, but didn't really excel, didn't really do shit.
Did you get along? You got along with the teachers, but
Well, I wasn't really on the radars or anything. Like, if anything, like I was playing, footy back in the school. So, if you played footy for the school, you pretty much got a pass for,
it's crazy. It
detentions
does
and all
work
that
like
type
that
of stuff,
here,
yeah.
eh? Like I remember because I went to De La Salle at
Which
Bankstown.
Oh yeah,
right? And I was on the basketball team, and our team was good, and the footy players, our team was good, and like they let us, because remember you couldn't cut your hair below a
certain
blade.
way,
I think it was
yeah.
a 2. You couldn't do it below a 2, and like bro, we'd go back to 0 and shit, and then like our headmaster was like a brother. Not like a brother.
What type of brother was he?
Yo,
No, he was like a brother, and like he was a referee. Like he was obsessed with basketball, so like and sports. So like he just give all the guys.
What was he giving the
passes.
guys?
Huh?
What?
He was giving the guys passes. Suck the guys. No. He just give us pass for just doing shit that everybody else couldn't do. So it was wild. But what about interests for you, Tyson? Like were you obviously sport, but artistically as well?
Yeah, I like to say I was. Up until I was in year 8, and there was a big argument with my art teacher because he reckons I traced a lot of the artwork that I did, and try to fight against him, and he threatened me with detentions because he thought I was, I used tracing paper in a fucking visual arts diary, and I was like, nah, bro, like I drew it, with my hands and my eyes. Like, you can't afford tracing paper in year 8, man. Like, come on, bro. Like, I mean, I couldn't.
My mum could barely afford my visual arts diary.
Yeah, shit, I think it was like $50. So, like, like straight up after year 8, I kind of, didn't really want to pursue art. And I pretty much just focused on just finishing school, really. And it wasn't up until like my later years of maybe like year 10, 11 and 12, I started getting into, a lot of Pacific arts. So,
True.
I did a lot of research on my own and, getting back to the culture of, just hanging around with a lot more islanders and doing like stuff outside of school, just been trying to immerse myself really.
That's dope, man, because there's not really a Pacific arts. There's not really much out there for, people
especially
of
at
heritage.
that time.
Yeah,
back in the early 2000s, 2005, I just, it was all pretty much, everything was, all hearsay, all oral. Everything was like, not many books were coming out at that time. Or if you go to your local library, there wasn't, books on Pacific arts or, Pacific culture at that time. The internet back then was shit. Like you could only use your phone to watch like
dial up for
rubber.
ICQ and MIRC.
ASL.
Yeah.
ASL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just had a flashback of a computer, like, Winamp.
Yes, sir.
And you could download the skins and stuff.
Damn,
Oh,
yeah,
they had
you
mad
could.
skins.
In Bearshare and like trying to tell people's mums, because I didn't have the internet growing up, so I went to my mate's place and he was yelling at his mum in Viet, like, get off the phone. Yeah.
Stop talking shit, mum. What are you doing?
Oh,
I've been trying to download a movie, like, I don't know
Is
what
it,
movie.
fuck,
Yeah.
I've been downloading for 2 days. Fuck, I was this close.
No, but honestly, like we really sound like old heads about talking about the internet. But actually, internet back in our days was bad. Like you couldn't receive any home phone calls. If someone called your phone, you disconnected from the internet.
100%.
Yeah, like
when you were just like talking to that girl that you had no idea what she looked like, but she sort of sounded cute.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there goes that conversation. You're out of that chat room, then you go back in that Yahoo chat room, and then she's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about
imagine
either,
it being
yeah.
that.
You sound like a professional in this, bro.
I know. I wasn't, but anyway. In terms of art, because this always interests me about tattoo artists, because transferring from like obviously one medium to what's possibly the like most changing medium all the time, you know what I mean? Like you got paper or you got canvas, you can sort of attack that the same way every time. So initially, what were your interests growing up in terms of art, like artistically? Like for example, for myself, because I was always doodling in the back of the class, it'd be like Sharpies, fucking Faber-Castell, Bics. It was just that, you know what I mean? So, were you like, did you have any like genuine outlets, or was it more just like sketching up and shit?
Like growing up, your graffiti. So that's a big thing. Yeah. So growing up, being into hip hop and stuff, you know, all of our friends were riding, and you know, back then, you know, it wasn't really so much about gangs and stuff like that. You know, obviously a little bit older, there was like, you know, gangs and stuff like that. But when we're really young, we used to look up to like graffiti gangs, or not graffiti gangs, but graffiti crews and stuff. Yeah, like you know, like Death Wish Cast. You know, looking up to like the old heads, like you know, the KOC, like B-Boy All Stars and stuff. Because we're into like hip hop, like breakdancing and stuff. Obviously, we had to try to get involved in everything, you know. So, you know, growing up, you know, everyone that was into hip hop had to be into like everything that was hip hop, you know.
Elements,
yeah, all the elements.
Had to at least like do one or two.
Yeah, that's right, you know. So, you know, obviously, you know, growing up in the West, because we did look up to them, you know, to them kings, you know, we had to, you know, look up to the best graffiti artists and the kings back then, you know. So
did you put up or
I did, and then I got busted in 2000. Yeah.
Wait, what, on a train or something?
On a train, yeah, just on inside, yeah.
Oh, shit,
so,
really?
Yeah. Fuck, so that was the end of my graffiti career, man. I was like, you know, after this, like, man.
What's wrong, son? Transit cops. Fuck my dream up of graffiti.
Yeah, nah, because having strict Filipino parents, man, like.
So you got
my
busted, but.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
shit.
yeah, but I was only in year 12 then, so.
But that's a big deal. Like when it
was
12,
a big deal. Yeah, because I was still in school, but you know, I just had to a couple of weekends. I just had to paint a few fences, but you know, like
not paint them like that, Ron.
Yeah. But yeah, like shout out to the people that kept it real. But yeah, the going to jail for graffiti wasn't you know, like I wasn't about that life, you know.
I found out very early that I wasn't about that.
But when my dad started, you know, swinging on me and stuff, I wasn't about that life.
And you were like, maybe I will go to jail.
Yeah.
Maybe it's easier there. What about you, Tyson? Like, was there anything like any medium that you chose before? Like when you know, was it like, and maybe that's interesting with the Pacific stuff, like,
like
you know,
if I wasn't drawing on myself, you know, a lot of you know, tattoo designs or tattoo designs, I'd you know, often see. Like in the books I did have, if I wasn't drawing on myself, I was actually just freehanding it on all my friends with a pen.
Really?
Back in school, yeah, just armbands, like forearm sleeves, chest pieces, just for fun.
That's so fucking dope, man. To hear like people like doing like tattoos before they're actually doing tattoos.
I'd cop a lot of shit from the teachers because like they well, you know, it wasn't a great look for the school for one.
Yeah, of course,
and, ink poisoning.
What?
Yeah, they hit me up like, you can't be doing that, mate. It's going to lead to ink poisoning. I was like, all right, sir.
Do you know how the body works, sir?
That was from a science teacher too, man. I was just like, all right, sir. Like he didn't want to further his explanation, but yeah, I was like, all right, cool, ink poisoning. So who wants another sleeve, you know, for me to draw up in lunch, you know? So that's
dope.
Yeah, that's how pretty much the grassroots of where I was.
Yeah, hectic. Hip hop. Sort of got it from you, Ron, but you know, like in terms of where hip hop sort of slides into your guys' lives, because you know, one thing that I noticed for both of you, you know, hip hop's still ingrained in, you know, because hip hop's been like a fucking massive culture thing. You know, like I've spoken to a few of the guys that have come in here, and hip hop's really ingrained worldwide into like pretty much every facet. Now it's the biggest like commodity with regards to like subgenre and culture things, you know, pieces like, you know, the language falls into everything. You know, if you look at artistic styles, it falls into everything, you know, even down to like, if I was just to relate it to some shit like in terms of tattoos, like even like fonts and influence, where people come in and be like, yo, like they'll often see it done in hip hop and they want to emulate that, you know what I mean? Like, so how is it like, how like big of a part does like hip hop play in, I suppose, like your guys' lives in terms of, you know, I suppose coming up as a young guy, and obviously, you know, you sort of lend to that when you're talking about like dancing and stuff, but also like now where you're at like a dope time in your career, how does hip hop, like, how is it interjected?
I don't know. Tyson, like,
I think Ron was lost in my eyes.
Yeah, I was lost. Lost in those pretty blues.
Yeah, I know, man. And plus, like, my girl told me that this jumper's bringing out the blue eyes today, so it's started bringing big girls. But no, like, legit, like, how did hip hop influence you as young guys, and then like, how's it interjected in it now? You still like going to gigs and shit like that?
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, like growing up, like especially from the area, like if you're not listening to hip hop, you're probably listening to emo music. And like listening to emo music, like those are the kids you look at. You're like, they're different, but they're not like what we used to. Technically.
Yeah.
Like me growing up, I was used to like listening to DJ Tickle's Quiet Storm, or
Shout out to DJ Tickles.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Tickles.
the boys.
Peter Guns, the All Stars, the Fresh Off the Boat, volumes, that you could find at Palms Deli, back in the day. And just the only type of music that I like listening to growing up was just rap.
Yeah.
Just rap music, and I guess
I think it's also the fact that with hip hop, man, like it was kind of, especially for our area, you've been from the area and we've been from the area as well. Yeah, the area. It's like hip hop, like it really relates to our demographic. People that come up from nothing from into something. So I think it was a lot of people that like as cliche as it sounds, like rappers, rapping about life, thank God I had a good life, but people that we grew up with, didn't really have the greatest life, and they could relate to that, and we could see them relate to that, and we could see it, as well, just, in our everyday life. So, I think, and that's another reason why we're really down with hip hop and stuff like that. So
it sort of goes into, just how you guys are as people. I've noticed that you never like get bigger than, I don't know, like the area or the original homies, or do you know what I mean? Like you guys can be like really busy or doing some fucking dope shit that people will be like, yo, these guys are on levels now, but you're still like,
you gotta stay true to your roots, man.
We don't have to, but like you see those guys. We all see those guys like they're fucking like on a level now. They're like, who are you? And you're like,
nah, bro.
Excuse me.
You can't do that to your day ones, man. Like,
nah, bro.
They the people that were with you back then, they pretty much help you pave a path to where we are now.
Straight up, man.
So like in saying that, like, doesn't matter where we go. We know where our anchors are and we know where our roots are.
Yeah.
And I think 100%. With the people that, that like how I'm saying, you gotta, stay true to your roots and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that we have left in the past, and a lot of people that we have left in the past. That's because, they were demotivating, or, they weren't. They weren't there for the ride, like as in, that they couldn't, not so much keep up with us, but you're a product of your environment, so
sometimes you got to change it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to change, for those people. So if you get stuck in the past, in bad past and stuff, you really do get left behind,
Yeah,
so.
bro. And I think you're right. It's fucking like sometimes like for the betterment of everyone, sometimes you got to cut those ties.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, bro. But for
there is a fine line, with staying true to your roots, but there's a lot of people out there that, that who knows, that might talk shit about us too, but
Good luck to them,
but they're there because they're there, and we're here because we're here.
Yeah, bro. And you fucking, it's always love, man. When I see you guys, and it's just positive to see, man. So it's definitely it's good to get you one here, and I suppose like listen to you even saying shit like that is like to have to like cut people to like progress, but always love to the area and all that sort of shit. But you got to keep positive, man, 100%. The other thing I want to talk about, which is probably something I don't know too much about you, but you always like touch on it, is the
penises.
No. Yes, that.
Can you say that again,
through
please?
fighting?
What? What?
The Muay Thai, like, you actually went hard at that for like a fucking minute.
Yeah,
like you can kick. I seen you kick. Like you could kick a guy's head.
Yeah, I only had 6 fights full force.
6 KOs, eh?
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
Wait, let me just. Oh, damn.
I was just and then after that I actually was a trainer at Full Force for a while. So, I worked my way up and I became a trainer there. I got my black singlet, got my Bushido cross, and
Oh, damn.
yeah. So
how'd you like? You go from breaking and then you just go fucking ham for Muay Thai. Like, how did you get into that? Like,
to be honest, I honestly do not know.
were you just like a little
No,
backpacker,
yeah,
wanna
I
kick
just
people?
joined, started, doing Muay Thai just for fitness really, and I was training real hard. And next thing you know, I was fighting. So, yeah. But
How did you go with your 6 fights? Because I don't even know. Like, for real.
I don't want to talk about that.
Cool. So you fought 6 times,
Yeah.
and you turned
No,
up
I won. Yeah, I won.
You turned up 6 times.
I won a few. So
A few equals
Yeah.
3. Okay, 50%. All right, no worries. All right,
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that. No, it's sick. It was just interesting to me because, like, I didn't. How long did you do it for?
oh man, I started. I think my last fight was 2013, and I started training early 2000s. I'm guessing.
Wow.
But yeah, so all my fights they were like
You always
spread
go back
apart.
every now and then, and you just like
Yeah,
kick
I
a
always
pad,
go
eh?
back, and I was like, yeah.
And you put a video up, and then you probably look at that video, and you'd be like, all right, sweet, back to tattooing.
then I have a big break. Then I have a big break.
Nah,
Yeah.
fuck
So
that.
even when I was fighting, it was like years, like a year between each fight. So I could say I was fighting for 6 years, but I only had like 6 fights or something.
Were you always same weight class?
I went all the way down to super featherweight, which was like 57 kilos.
Yeah.
And then I went to lightweight, and that was like 61, 63 kilos.
Hey, do you know a guy called Andrew Flossinator Webb? Andrew Webb?
It sounds familiar.
Don't worry
man.
about
Yeah.
it. That was me, like really just going left field because he was like para, and he was like a fucking tall white guy, super skinny.
What's his name? Flossinator.
Yeah, because he was so skinny and like just a dude. They called him Fairy Floss,
Oh.
but so he wanted to make it sound gangster, so they called him Flossinator.
It
Yeah,
sounds so
epic.
familiar to me, man. But yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll talk to you
anyways,
later, yeah. Anyway, now the funny thing is, when we first sort of like, I think chilled was that time in Crow's Nest, and I met you through
Sprinkles.
Which I think back now, I was like, that was the first time actually I feel like, we chilled because we went got some food.
Yeah,
and
I was
shit
just
like
I was just a fanboy with Fig Kid back then.
yeah, but it's,
You
you
know.
carried it well, bro. You were
Like,
just making
yeah.
laugh.
When I saw Godino, I was like, man, that's the guy that verbal scratched.
There he is.
Yeah, he
Fuck
is,
his whole
man.
rap career.
He's made it.
He did the
Yeah.
fucking verbal scratch one time that blew my mind. But that's the first time I feel like you first probably like hung out. And one thing that was really interesting is because and I think I've sort of maybe talked to you about this, and maybe you as well, Tyson, but for the most part, like, I do know a handful of like cool tattooists, like cool.
Thanks, bro.
I know like also a lot of tattooists that are like just the maddest cunts out, and like I met a lot of those. I think it's changed a bit now. There's a lot more like cooler tattooists, you can chill. But back in the day, bro, they were like hard cunts. You know what I mean? And so like it was very intimidating to go into a tattoo shop, and they
Times have changed. Like
fucking know.
back in the days, like you'd walk into a tattoo shop and there'll be intimidating people in the shop, and they'll just have flash, as in like just pictures on the wall with numbers on it, and you could just walk into a tattoo shop and be like, give me the number 12. It's completely different now.
Yeah.
Like
Like buying a Happy Meal or something.
Chinese shop, like give me the fucking
Yeah.
roast duck fucking noodle
Yeah.
soup.
that, honestly, that's how it was, like getting a tattoo. Like
I
there
felt that way.
was nothing really custom back then, where this day and age, everything, it's a completely different world now with with the art and stuff like that.
It is, but I feel like at that time, it's probably on a time where maybe it was transitioning to become a bit more popular, like you say, like it was probably changing. So meeting you and going like, "Fuck, like you're a cool guy." At that stage, you're a cool guy. Mate, that sounds so soft, but it's cool.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
But at that time, how long had you been? Because fuck, what year was that? Springs. This would be like 2011 or 12, maybe.
Yeah, it was years ago, man.
It
I
was
think
years
I
ago.
was there. Yeah, 2000.
How long have you been tattooing by that stage?
Oh, I don't even know. I actually took like 2 years off tattooing before I went to Crow's Nest.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. After my apprenticeship, I felt so burnt out.
Because were you pumping it at your apprenticeship?
I was pumping it, man. Pumping it, long hours, and I was like, man, I don't think this is for me. So I actually quit tattooing for 2 years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tyson, when did you start?
I got an apprenticeship in 2007. So you could kind of say that my career started maybe 08, 09.
Yeah.
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah, hectic.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to
Jeez.
know, right? Because I feel like, you know, after that, it did sort of start to change after I met you. You know what I mean? And, you know, the scene started to change, you know, for better, for worse. And I mean, like, during that transition of, you know, like passing on the old to the new, did you feel like it took away, like, how would I say, the exclusivity of tattooing? Do you know what I mean? Because before, when it was intimidating, like, and like when tattoos weren't easy to get, because I'll tell you, give you an example, right? Sorry, I'm just going to say.
No, go.
So I remember walking into like a shop near Central, and I went in and I just wanted to get, I think, the 13 on my hand. And I remember walking in, and bro, they were so fucking like, fuck this cunt. Like, and I was like, hey man, I just wanted to get a little 13 on my hand. So he goes, mate, you don't do hands, right? And I'm like, oh no, like, I had a jumper on. I'm like, nah man, I've got like, you know, I'm sort of basically already fucked, so, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, fuck, can you do a hand for this cunt? He's already fucked. And then he's like, oh, fuck, get him in here. Fucking fist like fucking $70, get him out. Like, it was really like, it wasn't easy to go in and get a tattoo, especially if you were going to ask for something like that back
Very
then, like
visible.
they really didn't want to touch.
Yeah.
You know, so, but in a sense, it was sort of like, well, you had to work harder to get your tats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't just be some fucking random, because I've been at fucking Skin Deep how many times, and like, it fucking pisses me off how many drunk fucking inner west preppy fucking hipster fuckhead walks past and be like, where the fuck you get a tattoo? And you're like, oh, shut the fuck up. I don't even know how you survived there, right? So do you think that transition, you know, do you miss that element of like the old school, or are you sort of, because I mean, obviously, you know, the business has flourished, but like in terms of the culture?
The culture has definitely changed.
100% has changed.
Like back in those days, you know, again, like not a lot of people were getting tattoos. So this day and age, man, we're doing like grandmas, we're doing lawyers, doctors.
Yeah.
I think as cheesy as it is, I think a lot of the tattoo shows kind of, you know, broke that mold for everyone. As I think as soon as like Miami Ink or something came out, you know.
Fuck, remember Miami
Yeah,
Ink?
man.
What was that dude's name?
Army James.
Jinx.
He's
Fuck me, like totally fucking, I don't know who that
shout
guy
out to
is.
Army James. He's actually following me on Instagram.
Oh, all right. I'm going to go get a Pepsi Max. I'm
Pepsi
seriously going to
Max.
get a Pepsi Max. Do you want a Pepsi Max?
Is it sugar free?
Maximum cola taste with no sugar.
Oh no, I'm sweet. Thanks, bro.
Do you want one? Keep talking.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're doing our own show.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought we were gonna pause, but
Mad. Oh,
yeah.
that guy got.
Oh, do you know what? I'll grab a water.
I'll
I'm
grab a
starting
water
to get
too,
a bit
thank you.
parched here. I'm trying to talk like this, like yeah, like and then like.
It's that feeling, you know?
Thanks, bro. Oh yes, keeping hydrated.
You know, and you know what
Damn.
Thank you.
I also, we'll get on to Army James, but like, can I just also, I fucking forgot to do this. That's the
Way.
boys, and even though like I wasn't prepared for you.
Thank you,
prepared
sir.
for you, babe.
Oh, bro, thanks.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
high
Thank you.
quality AS color.
Damn.
It'll actually
That's
keep you
good
warm.
too. Mm.
I didn't get it done like, you know, in the back of a store in Cabramatta. But shout out to
really?
Cabramatta homies. Yeah, so anyway, back to Army James.
Yeah.
So
So
it changed. in
it
the
changed.
tattoo
Yeah, I
shows.
think it changed a lot. Like back then, people just get tattoos just to get tattoos, just to like we say, tough stickers. You know, just
Yep.
just
I
to
remember
look
getting
cool
called
and
out
look-
at basketball. It was like, you think you're mad cunt because you got tough stickers?
Yeah, yeah,
I was
that's
like,
it,
wow.
man.
I was like,
But now,
Yeah.
like, I think people get tattooed just because, you know, I think with those tattoo shows, people realize, you know, that's another way of, you know, expressing themselves, you know, rather than getting a funky haircut or something like that, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot more acceptable.
Yeah, a lot more
these days,
acceptable.
you know? Especially when it comes to a lot of younger people getting in a lot more visible spots and obviously working 9 to 5 office jobs, you know, where like they bring short sleeves or, you know, something like behind the ear, you know. But it's a lot more acceptable in the workplace. Well, I find it's getting a little bit more acceptable depending on the job.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
I've been at your shop and like I've seen dudes come in and just fucking bang a hand and have nothing else.
Yeah.
And you guys try to deter him and be like, "Yo, are you
yeah,
fucking
it's
sure?"
a big
Like,
step, man. Like,
It really
it
is.
really is a big step. Like it is kind of getting, you know, becoming mainstream, you know. It is still a big step. Like, we still get people, even just with our hands and our necks, you know. Like, people still look at you weird, man. People still look at you like you're a scumbag, you know.
But we are scumbags.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
it is. As soon as you go to hands, it does. It's a different message.
I mean, I only got mine done beginning of this year, and I've been in the game for.
I don't even think I've seen that.
Yeah, no, it's a shark.
That's a dope shark.
Shout out to Sam Tattoo, man.
Oh, I need Sam to do.
Yeah.
Sam
So
with the like Mickeys and like the
That's
dicks
Yeah.
the one.
and the-
Mickeys with the penises and
and
stuff
the-
like
and
that.
the- and the having sex.
flying cocks everywhere.
It's very creative.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it took
I'm
me
about it.
ages before I felt comfortable enough to say, look, I'm that's it. I'm a tattoo artist now. Like, you know, there's no going back.
There's no going back.
There's no
Yeah.
going back. Like, imagine me trying to go
Took
for
that long for Tyson to commit.
Well, you know,
He did
'cause,
everything
like,
else.
I mean, I've got my background in social work, so like,
Yep.
you know, imagine me like trying to talk to, like, say if I go back to youth work, I'm gonna talk to, you know,
Where'd you do social work?
I was doing it at PCYC in Belmore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was doing youth work there for a while. But I mean, like, if I was to go and talk to a troubled youth's parents, and I have like all these visible tattoos, like, it kind of gives off a different
Yeah.
message.
I feel
but-
sometimes though it can work in your favor, particularly if you're a nice guy and like you know
Well,
you've
yeah,
been through,
it
you
can
know, and then
definitely swap.
you've got that look, but then people go like, "Yo, this guy's a legend, man. Maybe you can change the way they look at that as well."
Well, towards the end of it, before I, you know, kicked it off, so I can just pursue tattooing full time. I kind of felt like it was changing towards that way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about, because my next thing here is actually perfect, sort of like digression or progression. I didn't go well at school either. So do you feel that transition, like, was it quick? Was it long? Like, was it years, or was it sort of like, did it
To
feel?
become a tattooist?
No,
Man,
the transition between the old school to the new school.
Jeez.
Like from not being acceptable to almost like, fuck
Um,
now, every Tom, Dick and Harry's getting. Did you like wake up one day and next thing you know, you're like, yo, these a lot of motherfuckers booking tattoos.
yeah. Yeah, I think a big help as well was, you know, with TV personalities getting, you know, sports stars.
Yeah.
So, like, I
LeBron
think,
James. Sorry.
yeah.
Bro, whatever, man. I'm not just gonna start even basketball conversations with you. Right?
Better not, bro. LeBron James is that guy, bro. Going bold and shit.
All right.
Sorry, Ron.
R.I.P. Boston.
Sorry, Ron.
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah,
go.
so to be honest, man, I really didn't see a change. Like, just because it's such a fast-paced industry,
Yeah.
we kind of just sit in and realize, hey, it has changed, man, a lot. Like, it
It's
really
you
has.
Almost like one day it's almost like you don't realize it's changing, but then you look back and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah,
it's so different
it's
now.
so different, man. It is
Yeah.
so different now.
It is fucking different, man. One thing that I noticed, you know, and it's funny because I had this question in here. Like, it was to do with the tattoo conventions and how that changed the game. Because, yeah, the popularity definitely sort of flipped with the conventions. And I mean, I remember on the first convention in Sydney, my mate Tom, it was at a point where, fuck, what's the shop? I think it was like Alien something up north in like Newcastle or something. Anyway,
okay.
whatever. Tom he had a seat there with his shop, and back then it was the first one at
Homebush.
Homebush,
Yep.
and a lot of seats weren't filled.
Yeah.
Artists were there, and he was like, yo, he did my Mario, and he still hasn't fucking colored my Bowser because we'll talk about that another time. But he was like, and this isn't what he does, mind you. He does fucking like boss shit, like you know. And he was literally like, "Yo, man, can you come down? Can I tattoo you? Like, just so I've got someone in my seat to make it look." You know, how do you think the tattoo conventions, I think, help maybe the industry, but also you guys as artists, or how have they helped you? Because I notice you do a lot of shows, even still.
He does every show.
Is that more to get wasted, or?
Hey man, we don't talk about that. We're professionals here.
Man, like it's it's for the culture.
100% it's for the culture. Like, you know, I've been doing shows since 2013. My first show was in the Philippines.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
My first show was in the Philippines.
When was the first
Cebu.
Blacktown.
Blacktown, Philippines. I feel you. There was karaoke there too. Right
Back to like Cebu, eh?
It was actually the first
So was
tattoo
that
show in
before the
Cebu.
first one here?
No, the first one here would have been about 08 maybe.
Yeah,
Actually,
I reckon 08. Yeah,
Yeah.
around 08.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So your first show was in 13 in Cebu.
Yeah, and for me it was like, you know, there's artists here, but when you go overseas and meet a lot of different artists from, these people come from all over the world just to go to one specific spot.
Yep.
To work, mingle, you know.
Network and
Network.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think for artists, it's not so much for work. I think it's just to network with a lot of people, network with artists and network with people that haven't really seen your stuff, you know. So, for example, someone that doesn't follow you on Instagram or you're not familiar with your work, and they walk past your booth and they say, "Oh man, this guy's pretty good," you know, and it's a good way, you know, to get yourself out there like that.
Because, and this sort of goes off a bit off the topic, but then do you like sort of connect with homies and be like, "Oh fuck, like, you know, like we got a shop in such and such, man. If you're ever down, come in, like, you know, sit a chair and for a little while," or like, does it work like that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, smack bang. Like, you know, a lot of our friends, you know, especially overseas, are like, "Hey, if you're ever in our neck of the woods,
Yep.
if you want to come and guest spot, you know," and vice versa, you know. Oh, sorry, vice versa, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it all comes with the networking and all that type of stuff through the conventions, you know, and, you know, yeah, it all stems from there.
I actually think I first met Tice at a convention, and funny thing is,
Oh wait, what? Really?
Yeah. I was working
because obviously I'm from Mount Jordan. He's from Bankstown. Like, I didn't really know him, but because of our industry, I think I first met him at a convention. Funny enough, I ended up working for him and his brother.
Yeah, it was so crazy because, like, I know, you know, you separately to Tice. What, did I meet you at the radio?
Probably hung out more at the radio. I can't even remember, man.
Neither can I, man.
Maybe at a gig.
But
I
it was
met
just
ya.
so crazy when then, like, you were at Skin Deep, and then next thing you know, it was just like, fuck, all the homies were there at the same time. It was fucking like you could just go down and see everyone.
Yeah, it was a weird transition. Like, me and my missus were opening up. Our plan was to open up a tattoo shop in Hawaii. So
that's right.
Yeah,
you were gonna,
because
you sorted all the paperwork.
I ended up getting my green card and everything. So the thing was is that there was the US. I don't think they do it now because of
COVID.
Yeah, but the US were giving out 80,000 visas every 2 or 3 years, and Australia was one of the countries that were eligible. You just had to finish high school and apply. So yeah. So lucky
Wild.
I finished high school. Yeah, and I was one of the lucky ones that got chosen to get but it's a long process, man. It took me like 2.5 years just to do paperwork. Yeah, but I finally got it. And funny thing is, back to me working for Tyson. It was only going to be like a 1 month kind of thing, and we ended up staying there for over a year because we loved working for him so much.
It was a fun environment, man. Like whenever I'm around, I just fucking go there.
He's the only shop that I've remained really close friends with, you know. So yes.
Aw.
Bless
Thanks,
up, man.
bro.
That's
And he
exactly
used to kiss my dick.
Oh,
doing that wicka now.
I'm not gonna pay you in money. I'll pay you in other ways.
Hey, there's cameras, guys.
Guys, it's the casting couch. It's all in good fun.
You didn't tell me this casting couch. What the hell?
This is the next one. It's funny, but bro, the notoriety of you now with, you know, I mean, I don't know, fuck Instagram. I don't know how much people. You got like 76,000 followers.
I bought them
Still.
straight up.
Nah, bro. Because you know how you can tell is the comments, and your comments blow the fuck up. But man, that's pretty crazy. How did you think, or like, how did you build that followership, and or was it gradual? Did conventions have anything to do with it? Where did it pop off?
I honestly think networking played a big deal, man. Like, played a big part of.
What sort of networking though? Like, was it conventions
just
or like?
OnlyFans. I used to I used to show pictures on my tits.
You're the
And,
first
so-
OnlyFans. The first true OG Ron on OnlyFans.
Nah, to be honest, man, I think like Tice as well. Like, if you're a nice person and a genuine person, people are gonna want to follow you, and people like your tattoos, man. Like, to be honest, I'd rather get tattooed by a really nice guy that does mediocre, like just average work,
Good work.
than a really good artist who's a shit cunt.
Fuckwit,
Yeah, he's a fuckwit, you know. So that's, I think, being a nice guy, especially in this industry, because it is a kind of small industry, you know, it helps a lot, you know.
Yeah, without doubt. Because I think a lot of tattoos as well got to do with the story. And if you're just sitting there with some fuckwad like tattooing you, telling you shut up or man up or fuck, he's like, fuck, I don't want to hang out with this guy anymore.
Yeah, man.
And you got to sit with this guy for like hours on end. It's like fucking nails on a blackboard. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
yeah, straight up. But how is it with having that many fucking followers and that sort of notoriety, man? Do you feel a pressure at all with it? Like, do you?
Like, in all honesty, I think just because I am blessed enough to have that kind of following, you kind of do have to work to keep that up.
Yeah.
Like with anything, like as soon as you stop working, I notice my actual comments and my emails start going down. You know, you got to keep active, especially on social media. With anything you do, you got to keep active. You got to keep working. If you don't, man, you're just gonna get left behind.
Straight up, man. But you do a good job at it, man. Like, it's funny. It's like if I ever know where to hit you up, like, I'll get a response on Instagram.
Yeah.
Before anything else.
Sorry to everyone that's been messaging me, man.
I reckon I could call
yeah.
your house phone and I'll still fucking be like, fuck. And I'll hit you up on Instagram. Where are you? I'm at home.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. Tice, what about you on social media, bro? Because you're pretty active with social media. Like
The Thought Lord.
Thought Lord.
Lord Mayor, formerly known as
your
Thought Lord.
basketball.
Man,
you know,
I like just talking absolute shit.
you
Like on my
really do
my
that.
personal page, you know. Well, man, you know, aside from like tattooing, you know, on the radio show, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't really care for it.
Yeah.
Like the only
But
reason,
it works for you.
Well, the thing is, like, the only reason, like, I had to make a separate page for my tattoos is like, you know, I was just, you know, I thought, you know, I need to put some like, people are gonna follow me for my work. I want them to follow me for my work.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, when I was putting both my perso shit and my tattoo shit on the one page,
Yeah.
I was just like, maybe I think it would be smarter to separate it, because
100%.
You know.
Like, I noticed, sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah. I noticed as soon as I do something personal that's not tattoo related, I actually lose followers. Same as
so
my
people-
missus. Yeah, my missus is an artist as well. Like, she
Actually, it's funny you say that because I've noticed that your page really is tattoos now.
yeah,
if
every time I
there's
do
personal
a
shit, it's maybe
something
on something
personal,
else,
if I put up a picture of me and
Cornelius.
me and my family or something.
Cornelius.
Yeah, if
Bring
I
back-
put a picture,
Bring back
honestly.
Cornelius.
So it's kind of good that Tyson did that separation, but I came to the point where, fuck, if people are following me and they get butthurt if I, post something that they don't like, then fuck these followers, you know.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, I'd rather them not following me, you know.
Yeah, it's. I definitely think like in terms of content, because I feel in a different way similar. Like
Yeah,
last.
you've got a personal account as well, so.
Yeah, and I got to a point where same thing as you guys. I was like, well, there's people here that really follow me for music, and then like the homies that like, and I don't want to put my kids out for the fucking public shit anymore. You know what I mean? And I felt as though it was more tasteful to keep them separate. But it works better for you because then the people that need to see your personal shit see the personal shit, and then the people that need to see the artistic shit, and then it doesn't confuse the
Yeah.
the story. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's fucking.
Like I noticed, like even like big ass celebrities, if they put up a personal photo, they'll disable comments, man.
Yeah.
Like, man, because honestly, people on the internet, they're savage, man.
They go fucking nuts, eh?
They are savage, man.
Fucking assholes.
Like once in a while, I get kind of the cutties if someone goes, "Oh, that's a shit tattoo," but. Some of these, yeah, but yeah,
Gronks?
yeah,
Fight me.
and then I get a bit
Like
sensitive.
he's got like 7,000 comments. Like fuck, dope tattoo.
Yeah.
One guy.
But
shit
then
tattoo.
you get like you honestly read like big ass celebrities what they have to read, like just die cunt and stuff like that,
Yeah.
man.
Have you
Like
seen those, like,
it's
the
wild,
bad,
man.
Twitter ones where they have to read your Twitter roasts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
How they
yeah.
tweet it
That
back.
Jimmy
Fucking
Kimmel or
heavy,
whatever.
eh?
Like it's funny, but fuck, that shit's hurtful, man.
Yeah.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
It's because we're artists, you know.
Yeah.
Good crap. Anyway,
I gotta know, it wasn't a good track. So
No.
fuck, I'm getting the cutties. G'd Up, right? Massive shout out to G'd Up.
massive shout out,
Paco.
Jakey, Paco,
Jakey, yep.
and the boys.
Bowie. That's one relationship that I've noticed that you work hard to maintain, and you know, for the better. You know, I think it's really good to see that, you know, collaborative effort, and you just did your first collaboration with them, which is fucking so dope. You know when you said
Yeah, I couldn't wear it today. It's been raining the past few months, so it's the past few days,
Yeah.
so it's still a bit damp. I was gonna wear it today, but
Feels like months, eh?
yeah. Honestly, it's been raining all week, man.
yeah, it has, but it's sort of dope sitting back as like one of the, you know, like watching. Oh, fuck, that's mad. Finally,
Yeah,
something
man.
popped off. But I want to talk like how do you know the boys? Like what sort of attracted you to the brand? Because you know obviously I love the boys as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've got massive respect for them. But how did you know them, or how did you build with them? And you know, I probably know the answer to this, but I'll hear it from you. Like, what took so long for the collab to happen?
Oh, well, to be honest, yeah, like yeah. So I don't know if you guys know, but the boys from G'd Up, they're Westies as well. So
Very
they grew up in
Westies.
Penrith.
Penrith
Yeah,
boys, yep.
grew up in Penrith, and because I'm from Mincho Mount Druitt, it's you know, we're all kind of like everyone who's at kind of like at a level of success, and we're kind of
Or
from that.
creativity, I feel.
Yeah. And I think it's also because, you know, we're from the same area, you know, we know the go, you know, we know each other, like we get each other, you know, so years ago, when they first started out, I actually used to buy G'd Up stuff, and you know, I found out through a mutual friend who used to model for him. Shout out to Bettina Banks, Betty.
Oh,
Yeah,
Betty,
yeah,
straight
yeah.
up.
So Betty used to model for them, and because I used to work with Betty at General Pants back in the days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked with Betty, so that's how we became good friends.
Ace Wonder.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Ace Wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was modeling for G'd Up back in the days, and was like, oh man, like my good mate, and he's my tattooist. You know, where's your stuff? And then them boys checked me and like, fuck yeah, I like his stuff too. And you know, next thing you know, I ended up tattooing the owners, and they brought me a bunch of gear that sesh. And then, you know, the rest
I'm
is
like Donkey
history.
Kong.
Yeah.
Fucking mad.
So
And why did it take so long?
to be honest, man, like I'm a real busy guy, and they're extremely busy. Like
Straight up.
I think like to do well, because they are doing so well, to do well in you know, apparel and clothes, you got to pump shit out all the time. Like
And they do it well.
yeah, man, they do like every season they're doing 2 or 3 drops every season. So
And the ranges are fucking deep. It's
Yeah.
not like 5 pieces. It's
nah,
like 20
man,
fucking
yeah,
pieces
that's
a
right.
drop, yeah.
You know, and because they're such a small family, you know, it's not as successful as they are. It's not a big you know, like
Organisation.
a organization.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, they're such a small little group. You know, well, 1 or 2 of them doing the designs. It's ridiculous how successful they're going. But yeah, as soon as they're, you know, working out 3 drops, they're already thinking of the next drop, or already designed the next drop.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
So it's just about teeing up the right time for you
yeah.
guys.
So like they've always been busy, and I've always been busy. So yeah, and funny enough, you know, we actually did start talking about it before the whole lockdown, before COVID, and we started working on it, and yeah, now was the best time.
Were you fucking stoked or what?
Yeah, it was
Like you
cool,
finally had your own
man.
G-Dub shit, bro.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was so cool. Yeah, I'm wrapped, man, and I'm getting people, because that drop, we only did 100 pieces, just testing the waters, and they sold out like really quick, you know.
They
so
would have, man,
That's
because the
epic.
association, like everyone knows as well that you tattoo Jake, obviously. Because one thing I fucking love about Jake, and I said this to him, you know, fucking ages ago, when you know, went through a little bit of a lull, you know, they just slowed down for a little bit. I was like, yo, like you're the fucking face of it, bro. Like you got to be plastered all over the shit, you know what I mean? And he's sort of like lately he's been like, you know, all over it again.
Yeah, like the walk and talk. I think it's the best thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing for that social media. It puts a face to the company, and you know, like the people that buy the clothes, they love that shit. They like to know the stories. They like to know. It's quite personal, you know.
Very personal.
It's very personal. So
it's like it's family shit.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
right.
So Tyson's looking for a G-Dub connection. Magics.
yeah,
Huh?
You want a G-Dub collab as well, don't you?
Sure, everyone wants one.
No, you can
no,
do
shit,
it.
also G'd up, like 'cause when I was working for Tice, like we'd have flash events, and Jake would drop by and actually, you know,
Sort us out.
yeah, he'll sort us out. He'll give like a big box of G'd up stuff to give away during his flash days and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hectic,
Jake
bro.
has helped out Tice and the boys as well, and the Skin
Very-
Deep boys.
Yeah,
so.
super supportive when you know Ron was at our shop and we were doing flash days.
Yeah. The flash days pop off, eh?
Oh, bro, it's a
never been to
celebration of
Feel
you know
bad.
doing cool tats on cool people.
The flash are good as well.
Mm.
Sam has the Disney dicks and that.
Disney dicks, mini vaginas,
I'm
like
still got to get something wild, maybe
Yeah.
on my ass or something. I don't know. Like, opening a tattoo business, right? Managing a tattoo business, okay? Like, you know, especially when I was talking to you when I was at the shop, and just you know, dealing with leasing and you know all that sort of stuff, and like, you know, like, is it tough? You know what I mean? Like, because you know, people have an assumption of what a tattoo business is going to bring
man.
to a building, bring to an area, but like you said, the game's changed. It's a different landscape these days, and you know, you'd like to think like these days you could just turn around and be like, I'd like to open a tattoo shop.
Yeah,
and
like
just do
and
it.
to be honest, there is a lot of people that are doing it, man. But it's a very hard thing, and not only that, it's also to gain the respect of your peers as well. Like, it's a hard thing to do, man. It really is. Like, we didn't know how hard it is until we done it. You know.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of behind the scenes just with paperwork, and our industry, Tice could say it now, like our industry is the most scrutinized industry,
Yeah.
like in New South Wales. You
shout
know?
out to Gladys.
Yeah,
watching.
man. So like they treat us like criminals. We've got tattoo licenses where every tattoo artist has to have our fingerprints taken, and we've got to have a criminal check. If in New South Wales, if you have a criminal background, you can't tattoo in New South Wales, man. So
Yep.
yeah, it's quite a yeah.
So if you got done for graffiti on the train back when you were in year 12,
yeah,
sorry, so you can't be
Yeah.
a tattoo artist. Oh,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, that's the shit part.
Yeah,
about it,
it's really crazy. So not only that it's just people just think, you know, tattoo shop owners, they make bank, but man, we got insurance to pay. We got like there's
Because
this
technically, like from an insurance standpoint, they'd be like because there's health liabilities. There's like
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
Essentially, it's like it's medical, especially like you know you guys have piercing. You
Yeah.
have piercing.
no, but
you,
yeah.
like
We got
Skin Deep
piercings,
has
yeah.
piercing. So, and I know it sounds silly, but like fuck, if someone faints for some shit and fucking falls over and fucking smashes their head on the corner of a fucking
Yeah, and it
cabinet,
happens, man.
like,
It happens. So we got big liability insurance and building insurance. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Like, I mean, is it just are you used to it now? It's just part of the territory, and you fucking
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it comes down to the experience, you know.
yeah, true.
Like, you know, you can kind of tell, especially like if you're tattooing, you know, a client, and you know, their face gets, you know, pale as shit, and you're like, yeah, right, and their eyes roll back and they start breaking out in sweats. Like, the first thing you do is just stop. You know, some people out there go, oh, if I pass out, fucking keep tattooing me. Nah, cunt. Like, fucking settle, you know, settle.
Have you ever had anyone shit themselves?
Yeah. On my tits.
Whoa.
Fuck yeah. No, has
Nah,
anyone
yeah.
like? Has
Yeah,
anyone
well-
like just fucking like just straight out like passed out? And just
Yeah,
fucking
like,
lost all,
we get people that
Oh.
pass out and stuff. We get people that vomit. It's actually like a common thing. Like,
Yeah.
we're used to it. But when it happens to someone, like, they freak.
Yeah.
They freak out, man. But because we're so used to it, we have seen. I think it's like 1 in 100 people like faint.
Gonna do
Yeah,
it
when
that
they
way.
get tattooed, you know. But I think it's not so much the pain. I think
Nah,
it's
the
the
shock.
yeah, and I think they work themselves up way too much.
I think it's
man.
a preconceived.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
doing
right.
some
Man.
themselves.
Like, I've seen people pass out when you don't even tattoo them. Like, you put the stencil on them and go check it out in the mirror, and they're like, you know, look in the mirror and then just like faint, you know. So
Oh,
It's
like,
usually the
alright.
biggest dudes that, you know,
Yeah.
that tend to,
Really?
yeah, like.
So
you know.
more like the more roids, like
Well, I don't know about roids.
just
nah,
or
but in
bigger.
all honesty, man, like, if you guys are thinking of getting a tattoo, like, don't go to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
people that go to the gym, they're the ones that struggle the most. Like,
100%.
with your muscles really tight and the needle hitting tight.
Yeah, it's like a fucking balloon, bro.
Yeah, man. You like, yeah. So don't go to the gym if you're
don't
gonna get a tattoo.
don't pump.
Don't get a
Ron's
pump before
telling
you.
people to be a slug and then come get a tattoo.
Yeah, like,
and
you
then
know
hit
what,
the
yeah.
gym.
Get loose.
Health is wealth, but if you are gonna go get a tattoo, don't work out for at least a week or something. You know,
Yeah,
if you want to enjoy the tattoo.
that's it.
Okay, so how have you guys I actually fucking don't like talking about. Have we got questions as well, by the way? Okay, well,
Oh.
I'll get to that. How have you guys dealt with because what's crazy to me is you're always booked, even to come see you's sometimes difficult because you're busy.
Yeah.
How has it felt for you guys to be just fucking non-stop, closed books, fucking the store running, fucking being open every day, and goons coming through and all
Man,
the
and this guy trades till midnight. And
yeah, bro.
and it's a pump and shot, man.
It is
Yeah.
every time anyway, go down, see it yourself, skin deep, when it's back open.
Yeah,
But
come down.
how have you guys dealt with fucking on the books non-stop to just shut the fuck up, no no
Bro,
work.
honestly, at first I was like, man, we got to stay creative, got to stay on top of this. But the first 2 weeks I was like, man, I'm gonna learn a new
Muay Thai again.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna learn a new instrument. I'm gonna learn Chinese or something,
True.
I'm
Just in
singing
case.
it.
Whoa,
Wait,
what?
did
No, I just made that up. I just
like
made
Shout
that
out to
up.
the racist Filipinos now.
I just made that. Nah, but man, I came to a point after 2 weeks to a month in where I was like Tyson would say is we're under the pump so much before COVID, and it's okay if you just want to recharge your batteries.
Yeah.
It's okay to not do anything right now. You know,
The best.
That's really good, bro.
Yeah, I think but in saying that, there is a fine line with recharging your batteries and wasting your time as
Yeah.
well. You know, so
Yeah, I think it's it's important, bro. Because you're so wound up.
yeah.
I know that I've certainly gone, I've got spare time, but there's other important shit like my family
Yeah.
that I can really be exerting time into
Yeah.
that, and where I normally probably wouldn't get the opportunity. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? What about you, Tice?
Oh, as soon as all that COVID shit happened, what else could you do? We were just bottled up in our house, and I also had one of my Korean friends who was guest spotting. He was living on my couch for a month.
He got stuck. He got stuck.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. So
Shout out to Siho.
shout out to Seo. Yeah, so because it was at our house, we went to the Korean grocery store after him in Belmore, and he'd be getting all this cool things.
Schooling you on Korean shit.
Yeah, man.
That's dope.
There's this microwavable rice that you can put in. You chuck it in for 3 minutes, and bang, it's always the perfect rice.
Instant perf. Alright, well you need to hook me up with that.
Bro, 100%.
Alright, let me know
That and the
about
best kimchi, straight out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to know these things. These COVID things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is little life tips?
Because I mean, you know, like Ron said, you know, we try to you know get into an element of, you know, being creative and being arty, but then you try to get into it and it kind of almost feels like back at work again, you know. So like, you know, as he said, you know, it's good to take a step back and don't touch really anything creative and just, you know, immerse yourself in what it is, really. Well, that's how I felt.
No,
Well, what's crazy as well, man, like everyone pretty much every industry has a start date, but our industry in New South Wales, we're still waiting for a start date, man. So
we're fucked.
I thought. Oh no, you can't.
No, so they said like they made a big fuck up by like saying they'd given us a date or we can start tattooing, but they took it down straight away. But so our actual shops don't have a starting date yet. So
They put us in the
Hopefully
same
soon.
category as the sex industry. Like we were supposed to be.
I mean, there is a lot of penetration, if you know what I'm saying.
Like we were supposed to be with like the beauty shops and stuff opening up
Well,
June 1st.
they shut us down same time, and we expected to be open the same time. So
if not earlier,
Yeah.
really, because
man, we've got the
Well, it's sort of easier for you, or not easier, but with regards to if
Like-
someone's getting tattooed, it's like you only, and you can just put the measure in that it's like that person getting tattooed and no other people.
Yeah, not only that, man. Like, because of our industry, just because of the high standards of cleanliness and stuff, man.
Yes,
like,
of course.
and we know about sanitation. We know about
You're, like,
cross-contamination.
trained in that shit.
We're training
Yeah.
that shit, man.
Yeah.
And we get tested on that shit. Like, we get the council doing, you know, surprise
Spot
visits.
checks, yep.
Yeah, spot checks, man. So we're probably the cleanest industry to start working again, but we're still we're still waiting, man.
Fucking Illuminati, bro.
shout out to Gladys.
Fuck, Gladys. I hope Gladys is watching. Tyson staunching you.
No, it's
You
staunching.
better. I hope she.
Give you
Huh?
a nice there in contest.
Wait. Hey, how's it working with your brother, Kiefer?
Oh, he's cool.
Shout out to
like,
Keith.
Like everyone's chilling. Like
Chief Keith.
everyone in the shop's chilling. You know, everyone's like, you know,
Your brother's the maddest guy. I'm just gonna, you know, like.
he is.
I'm not gonna put him like on blast. I'm gonna give him the biggest props right now,
Yeah, honestly, I could vouch for that.
bro.
Yeah.
Keith,
Biggest
like,
props.
He's a
Yeah, biggest
he
props.
legit
to
he's
is
him.
the
like
man.
before, like he didn't know me, but
This
he
is
was
back in the Burwood days.
yeah.
Yeah,
And let's just say
yeah,
he was at a job.
yeah.
He didn't have to take care of me at that job, and he did.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe why he left that job. but I remember thinking to myself, yo, and I don't think we met yet.
No, you met
This
my
was
brother
like-
before you met me.
This was years before.
Yeah.
And like he was just, you know, when you just like see one of the boys or like, you know, it's just like, yo, it's just like, hey, bro, like, you know,
Yeah.
mutual respect. And then just like fucking the sickest dude, man, from day one. And then I remember meeting him later. I was like, yo, that's Tyson. Then I knew you really well. And then I realized it was your brother, bro. He's the fucking biggest
Yeah.
man coming out.
Shout out
So
to my brother.
Just shout out
Love
to your
you, bros.
brother. Sorry, bro. Like, so it must be good working with him. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's the dude. He's the man. You know.
but he's like, I feel like he's like sort of like low key. He's just like,
Oh,
low
you know,
key matters
he
to
does him. You know. But yeah.
Bro, shout out to Keith, bro.
Shout out to Kiefer.
So I'll touch on this like a little bit, and then we'll get into questions. So how was it like working together intimately, you two? How was it working at the shop together? Like, and how was it
well.
working with? Because when did your missus start? When did Ileana start?
She started tattooing. Fuck, I don't even know.
She's watching this right now,
Yeah.
buzz.
Yeah, but was it? Yeah, wow.
Not to put you on the
that's like
spot.
anniversary date. You should know that shit. Did like, because the thing that I was just thinking of was like working with, you know, your wife is, you know, I feel personally that's a big decision. Like, you know, because you want to like, you're going to be with them, you're with them every day anyway. So like to be able to be like, yeah, like, you know, was that a big decision process for you guys? Or
It
were
was
you pretty
kinda-
like fucking knew it was going to happen?
Yeah, it's kind of natural. Like right now, we've been together like 13 years, man. So
Bro, bless up.
Yeah.
So dope.
yeah, 13 years married for about 6 years. But yeah, because we spent so much time with each other. Because it's kind of normal. At first, it was really hard. Like,
Yep.
because by trade, she was a banker. She was working for Citibank back in the days, man. Like,
Really?
yeah, we're working in the head office and working with big numbers. And I was already tattooing then, and after work she'd draw and paint and stuff like that, and I'm like, do you really want to be a banker, you know?
So that was a discussion that you guys
Yeah,
sort of had?
and then she was like, nah. So she actually quit banking and she went back to school. She went to TAFE for graphic design, and you know, after she finished that, she became kind of like a shop manager, you know. So she was managing the shop, and then she she was hanging around the tattoo shop, you know, every day that I was there, pretty much every day. And I was like, do you want to start tattooing? And because she was drawing like every day. And she kind of just...
She got real hectic.
Yeah, and I was
definitely
like...
got a style. Like, she started to, like, I don't know, from an outside point of view, start to etch out her own style.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then she just kind of, like, became my apprentice. And that was hard, man. Like, I got to apologize to her now. I was a real hard apprentice, but yeah, she's killing it now, and she's so successful. Like,
she's got her own fucking lane.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
yeah.
It's so dope to see, like, and to sort of see it. I don't know, like blossom, or like just, you know, still have to go through the yards. I suppose, like every tattooist does.
Yeah.
But then
working together for a while, man. Like at first, it was really hard. You know, it was really hard, but you know what? Once we got over it, you know, it's the best thing. It's the best thing.
Man.
Like there's
Straight
no
up.
secrets. We know exactly what we're doing. We know what's happening on each other's lives because we're there all the time. So, you know, yeah.
Fuck, mad respect,
Yeah.
man. And like, I suppose, like, when it comes back to, because did she start? Where did she start? Like,
No, she started.
was it before Skin Deep?
Yeah, before
Live
Skin
Campus,
Deep.
no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we came to Skin Deep as a package
As
deal.
a tandem.
Yeah, as a
Like
package
Michael
deal.
Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, right.
But was Scottie Pippen underpaid? Who was
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen? Nobody
Man.
really knows. Haha, we'll just leave that out there.
Bro, I can't believe how low Scottie Pippen was.
Hard.
And I did not know that, man.
Of course we didn't know that. We're too young to know that fucking
Yeah.
bullshit.
And he's got the deepest voice, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
Fuck, when I was listening to him, it broke my subwoofers at home.
Why do you have subs on your fucking Netflix, bro?
Oh, shit.
Were you watching in your car,
Back
bro?
on the area when you got subwoofers on your Netflix.
Damn.
Like, fuck me dead. All right, so guys, just a FYI, subwoofers on your Netflix, all right? That's
Shit.
Ronstagram's
Holding on to your
tip
chair.
for the fucking
But
day.
that's when Scottie Pippen talks,
starts talking, it's
turn the
fucking-
volume down.
Turn it up, and ladies, just sit on the subwoofer. Oh, wow, man, you didn't have to take it there. Shit. But how was it having a whole crew there? Busy?
It was mad.
It was fun.
Honestly, that was the best time working together.
Yeah.
It was a party, man. It was a party every day.
Is that why you
day.
left? Because you were like, yo, like, Tice, I just got to cruise because, like, to be real, I'm not getting any work done. It's like a party all the time.
Especially at the time when like Alona and Ron were there. Like there was just so many different types of characters that would come into the shop, and you don't know what would walk in, you know, especially being a busy street shop.
I love how, like, Newtown, you don't know what will walk in, not who would walk
Yeah,
in.
man.
You don't know what would walk in.
That's what I love about Newtown and working in Newtown. Like, it's everything, like any type of people all in one space, man. You got the real rich people, you got homeless people, you got
Yeah.
crazies, you
Yeah.
got like if you were into something, it doesn't matter how wild, like what you're into, there's gonna be a group for it in Newtown.
Yeah.
That support you, you know.
Everything's
so.
normal.
Everything's normal, yeah. I'm not going to get into some, because, like, I think we've been, like, crazy enough. with
Yeah,
some of them.
we were actually sad, you know, leaving the Skin Deep crew, but that's why we still say, you know,
That's right.
yeah, we still go to each other's Christmas parties, and
Yeah.
you know, like every time they have an event or someone has a birthday, like we're there, and vice versa, you know.
Yeah.
So
We're that tight.
yeah,
Fuck, no, it's just, I'm sitting here like a mad fanboy back from, because I'm like, yo, like, seeing it all, like, be a mad family like that, because, yeah, bro, I think it's a missing element, I think, in some industries, irrespective of the industries, you know, and like keeping that sort of community and keeping those relationships strong. Because, bro, fucking sometimes it is about the relationships that you keep.
That's
Yeah,
right,
You know
man.
what I mean? So, after this, we'll get into questions. Yeah, easy. Anything like, so post-COVID, is it just back to business as usual? Like, or are you fucking, you've probably booked for about 3 years. Are you just like, opening up shop, doing a flash day, kicking off with anything?
It depends on when it opens. You know, it'll be.
When you get a date.
I reckon. You know, I'd like to say we'd like to be open sooner than later.
Yep.
But But I guess it's gonna be a slow process, especially because we're a street shop. You know, we're open to the public. So depending on how the government wants us to monitor who comes in and all these wild, regulations that they're trying to bring in by, you have to document every single person that comes into a store or something like that.
Yep.
You know.
I went to Riverside Theatre today, and when you go in, you have to fill out a whole form. And just
is that by law, or is that just like
Well, I don't. Maybe.
or like, do you have to give you like information?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Truth
because
be told, I actually walked in the wrong door and didn't know how to fill that in. They didn't tell me, and then I figured it out on another door. So anyway,
because like stuff like that. Like, imagine if someone comes in and they may have had COVID or whatever, and they decided to give us a fake name and all that other bullshit. Like, how the fuck's you gonna trace that?
Yeah,
we're not taught how to do it by the government. They're just assuming that we're gonna, we know what to do.
And Newtown's weird right now, bro, because like I went there the other day with Ken's and the fam for lunch, and
it's
a different vibe, man.
It's fucked up. Like it's actually proper.
You see like cafes that you'd love to, they're like not open right now,
and like even like you think that they just might not be fucking back.
Yeah, that's right, man. See, and that's what's scary as well for us after this whole thing. Like our industry, we're a luxury, man. As in, like people after this, like so many people lost their jobs. Yeah. So many people are getting less hours, and like who's to say that our industry is going to thrive when they give us the AOK?
Yeah.
Like if you're like struggling and you got to feed your babies, don't get a tattoo, man. Yeah. Like we're telling
smart.
But get a sleeve if you really need a sleeve. If you think a sleeve is going to feed the babies.
If you got to feed the baby, don't get a tattoo, man.
Or get a tattoo and shop at Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of creative ways to do it, right? All right.
Yeah. So we're just a bit, we only time will tell how it's going to be, and honestly it's going to be it's the end of the world as we know it, to be honest with you. Especially the first couple of months when everything kind of goes back to normal, like what restrictions are going to be for us or for everyone, So
yeah. Well, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah. Like the new norm. What's the new norm?
We'll create it. Fuck it. Fuck the world. Like Tupac. All right. Questions. Eski.
I've only got 3 questions.
Oh, is that all? That's all right. That's 3 more than 0
That's 3.
questions.
That's good.
Yay.
Any high-profile clients or interesting people, celebrity or not? Or any stories?
Any high-profile clients or interesting clients? I mean, fuck.
Where do
interesting
I start with interesting clients?
Yeah. High-profile.
I did an infinity symbol on President Obama.
Damn.
Back in the day.
Wait, what?
No.
Fuck.
Obama.
I was gonna say
I
Obama, bro. That tattoo's
I did
whack.
a pizza.
Oh.
I did a pizza on Obama. Watch
For
this space.
What?
Watch this space.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Straight up.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, yeah. Like also like with
You did Will Singe, didn't you?
Yeah, Will Singe. Shout out to Will Singe.
Did his back. That was a dope piece.
Yeah, but Tice is lucky. Tice, because he's right next to the Enmore Theatre, and so many mad acts come through. Mad acts come through Enmore Theatre, and because they're so close and they're the most pumping shop in Newtown, like we get Metro Boomin swinging through.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Metro Boomin.
How can you fucking forget it, bro? He signed the wall.
He did sign the wall. I mean, but then again, like there's been heaps of people that have come through the doors. You had Soffles come in one time, Mike Giant. We had a player who was playing for the Patriots.
Oh,
I can't remember what he was playing for. There's also been like a lot of Aussie rappers.
I did all day. I did all day.
Yeah,
I did all day at Skin Deep when I was working at Skin Deep.
Was it water pistol or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. I did a super soaker on him.
Sounds about as gangster as he gets.
Yeah. But I mean, there's heaps of interesting, like there's so many different types of people.
If you want to see that, when the shop opens, just keep an eye on Tyson's
stories.
Fuck, you'll get it. And you get good conversations out of them.
100%. Especially like Friday, Saturday nights when it's it gets buck wild and people think they can twerk, and you're looking at them and you're like, bruh, who taught you how to twerk? Like your grandma or like that type of shit.
Could you imagine grandma twerking?
I mean, nothing wrong with people trying to twerk, but go ahead. But if you twerk shit, yeah.
How's this conversation?
I don't know, man. Shit, that's interesting.
Lord.
I tattooed I've actually tattooed Georgia Smith. Yeah, I tattooed Georgia Smith.
Oh
Really?
man.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I
Yeah,
did
she's come
see
to the shop. I've done like Guy Sebastian,
that. Dope.
Bruno Mars's band.
Mm.
Yeah, like you said, Will Singe. Who else? I got to from tattooing. I got to go backstage with Anderson .Paak and chill with him, and yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hectic,
Yeah,
man.
I recently done Mark Hunt from the UFC. He was a super heavyweight champion of the world. He's a
when was that?
Westie too, so
Oh, real?
yeah,
Oh,
but he's not UFC anymore. So
Isn't he supposed to fight Paul Gallen or something?
yeah, he's gonna be fighting Paul Gallen.
Damn.
But then this whole COVID thing happened, so
Oh shucks.
it'll get moved. We'll
Shout out
see.
to Mark.
Next question.
Favorite tattoos they've done. What's your
Ooh.
favorite tattoo?
What's your favorite tattoo? Come on. I'm right here. No jokes.
Oh man, my fuck. That's a really hard question. I think every tattoo I do is my favorite tattoo. No, actually, no, that's a lie. There's a bloke that one of the boys. Shout out to Jackson. He had I must have tattooed an Uzi on him, like the gun.
This is a bad one.
And then he came up and he's like, I'm just gonna write something on my arm. I go, what do you want written? And he's like, Mata, M-A-T-A. I go, what? I go, where's it going? He's like, on top of the Uzi. And in Tongan, like, it's a bad
Mata
word,
Uzi.
Mata Uzi. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, holy fuck, this is like one of Burgess catchphrase type of shit. That was like, it was like that. It was like on that level, like, of catchphrasing. Like, if you had to put it together, Mata Uzi, bro. Like, that has to be my, like, this year, probably top 2. Maybe top 1, just because it's funny.
That's what it's about, though, right? It's about the character. It's about the thought process behind
Yeah,
it.
oh,
you know?
man.
Like thinking outside the box and doing some like weird shit on you.
Especially Newtown, man. Like, there's some weird shit I've tattooed, but that's probably the
Well,
yeah.
most
I mean, that's
clever.
most creative. Not weird. I can't say weird because it might offend some people. It's creative. Yeah, I like to
dope.
say it's creative. Yeah.
What about you, Ron?
I don't know, eh? I don't know. I think, like, to be honest, I like all my tattoos, man. Like, yeah, I think if you're doing the same kind of thing all the time, it becomes a bore, So you got to enjoy what you're doing, So
I saw
That's
one
it.
that you did that I think that you.
I've done Havies. Do you know the Havi straps?
What?
Like, do you know Havianas? So some guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I did the straps. Oh, it's the
Wow.
straps on his feet.
bro.
And then his wife comes in. So, like,
Where was this? Was this at a shop?
yeah, it was at a shop. Yeah, it's where I did my apprenticeship in Mount Druitt.
This is-
Yeah, so yeah. And his missus comes and was like, yeah, he never wears shoes anywhere. But yeah, I had people. Yeah, we had people like at Summer Nats going, oh, you're the one who did the Havies, the thongs. Yeah. So I did. He wanted the.
Imagine being famous for being the tattooist that did fucking.
Yeah.
come from Mount Druitt.
Yeah. We do stupid ones all the time, man. But it's fun, man. It's fun.
That'd be fun, bro. I remember seeing a fucking massive back piece he did for a dude. It had trust no one.
Oh
And the one was a
yeah,
dollar
with the
bill.
glass
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I
That
think
was
I said
sick.
Man,
something
that took a long time. We ended up doing like.
I think you
all
said
the way
like
to-
you almost wouldn't do it again.
Oh,
Like you
no,
do it again, but you wouldn't do it again. Like
in
it was
all honesty,
quite
that
painstaking.
intricate, I wouldn't do it again, man. It was such a long piece. Like it took ages, man. Because in every little thing, like if you look
Something
at it,
else is
yeah,
intertwined.
there's something intertwined in it, and there's little details. Like for example, the client, there's a little Monopoly Man character that's holding a lighter, and honestly, the lighter's like that small, and the client was like, I want the Harley David symbols in that, and man, like it's little things like that, man, and
Were you like, it's gonna be another $700? And then he was like,
nah,
no
shout out to
worry-
the client, man. Like
no worries.
it
But
was.
he would have had to fucking sit through that, bro. And you're fast as far as tattooing goes. Like you get good stuff done, but quick. And for
Yeah,
you to say it was long,
Man, it was a long piece. Like usually my day sessions, because I got a bad back or whatever. Like I only do 4 to 6 hours. That's a day sesh for me.
Yep.
But you know, he could sit for 8 hours, this guy, and he was willing to pay and stuff like that, man. But I'll never do that shit again.
That's crazy, bro. Or at least you'll pace it out to like fucking 2-hour blocks.
Yeah.
You can be getting this tattoo for 6 months. Last question.
This is from Mackenzie.
Oh yeah. Hi,
Where-
babe. Love you.
Where do
Hey,
you guys
Mackenzie.
where do you guys think tattooing sits in the cultural identity of Australia?
Ooh, man, that's like a
girl's gonna
university
ask me
question right
questions.
there.
Maybe the heavy
Damn,
honors.
what a
The heavy
smart
honors.
girl.
I know.
Shit.
I got a good one.
Hey, let me just
Can I phone a friend?
Can I phone my wife?
Far out. Like, but with the whole, you know, tattooing as a whole, it's a wide. It's too wide to categorize it into one thing, man. You know.
It's like tattoos in Australia. It's, like as we said earlier, you know, it's getting more acceptable. You know, you can go anywhere. You know, even maybe in say like maybe Bathurst, and you know there'll be a tattoo shop there. You can go maybe
all they do is pump out heavy honors.
you know, like you can go to like some like places like you would never even think of, and then there's a tattoo shop there. You know, like I guess it's easily accessible to get. I feel like in this day and age to get a tattoo.
Do you feel like Australia was a little bit behind? Because the one thing I do notice is like I'd be in the States back in like early 2000s and it was already on its way there to being more acceptable, but then you came back over here.
I think also
and it was delayed.
Yeah, it was a little delayed, but I think what kind of sped it up a bit was honestly Instagram, man. I think so many people wanted to flex, like if they were tatted up or inked up.
Like you know
man.
that meme, that dude who just got his like hand done or some shit. So like every fucking photo, he's like this
Yeah.
thing, which
Like-
is pretty much me now.
Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing that, you know, people were getting tattooed for the wrong reasons. Like people would get tattooed just to cover up. Like there wouldn't be any meaning behind it or.
Yeah, like people come in like the day before a fucking festival and be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I need a sleeve."
Yeah, yeah. And then
When Tyson told me
Yeah.
that blew my fucking mind.
Yeah,
Yo.
I need a full arm sleeve before tomorrow.
Well,
For
people-
Stereosonic.
and they're
Get
just
outta
like,
here,
do whatever you
Yeah.
want. It's like, man, like,
Just draw like fucking dicks on dicks
Yeah.
on dicks.
On
Yeah.
dicks and
Like,
dicks.
mad.
yeah. So it's a weird kind of thing, you know. Like there's beautiful, meaningful tattoos, like, you know, like meaningful cultural tattoos, and then you get people that, you know, like are just not so much, you know, poses and stuff like that, but like, oh, I want a guy with a shotgun, you know, and stuff like that. And you think, man, like, are you even about this life, or you want to look about that life, you know? Like,
It's true, bro. I've literally seen in Tyson's shop, I've sat there and watched guys come in and say like, I want this. And then they'll be like, are you sure it's not this? And they'll be like, yeah, all right, I'll get that. I'm
yeah, man.
like, how
Yeah.
are
Like
you
we've
so
had
easily
people,
swayed, bro. Like,
yeah, like we've had
Yeah.
people come in and like, I want this star on me, and it's like, man, that's like the Star of David. That's the Jewish star.
Jewish star.
And like, oh, is it? You know, like,
Then they haven't,
yeah,
haven't even
man.
done their research.
Or like we get
Nah.
people like
Especially
come
the
in.
jail tat shit, bro. You know when
Yeah.
people ask for like jail tat shit and you're like, you know, that's like
Yeah.
such and such, and they'll be like, oh, what?
Yeah, 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 100%, man. Or like we get people like saying, oh, like even guys that want like Māori tattoos and stuff like that. And to the Māori people, man, like that stuff's like, you know, sacred, or it's you know,
Yeah.
real special and specific for that family or for that person.
Yes.
And we just get guys, oh, I just want that pattern, or they'll bring even pictures of like the
The
rock.
Rock.
Yeah, and they'll be like, I want
to hear you
this.
guys say it at the same
Yeah.
time, bro. Fuck,
Yeah.
that's cringy
yeah,
shit.
man.
Cause
We
of
want
the-
to look like the Rock.
Yeah.
And you know
Well,
what?
first
It's
of
a-
all, hit the gym. But if you want a tattoo, don't hit the gym.
Yeah.
So
that's
if you,
good. I get you.
Well, usually like the people that do come in and request for, you know, specific tattoos that they see online and stuff, a lot of the time they're just misinformed about, you know, what they really want to get.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people come in like, yeah, like, you know, majority of the time it's like Europeans that come in, like they're here on holiday, like, yeah, you know, I want to get the Rock tattoo. And I go, do you understand like where this is? And like,
They're so
oh,
far from like Pacific heritage though as
Yeah.
well that like that
Like,
they
they're on the
it's
other side of
hard
the
for
world.
them to be informed. You know. Yeah.
So like when you do try and tell them like, well, you know, I want a Polynesian tattoo. Like where in Polynesia? Oh, Polynesian tattoo. I just want it. I get wear.
Because there's all different types of Polynesians, like
100%.
Tahitian,
Straight up.
Samoan,
Yeah.
like Tongan. Even like Samoan and Tongan patterns are completely different as well. And like we have to be understanding as well. Because
You gotta almost like understand the ignorance.
Yeah, like
and
it's
school them to game. Like you gotta school them to what it is about.
Yeah, it's part of the job. I mean,
Yeah.
we're there to educate.
Yeah. So we try our best not to be cut up about it, which we're not, but yeah.
Bro, you got some fucking patience, man. I have to say, bro. Like being
I
in the shop
think-
sometimes, seeing some of the questions and like seeing some of the ignorance and like.
Oh man,
I
like
think
you really
lack
do
of
have to
respect
be
for what you guys do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see like a fucking blatant like lack of respect for it, like.
Bro, and we get
it's
people,
almost
man, that like,
slap-worthy, bro.
I've got the money, and like, man, we don't want to do it, man. But
Yeah.
I'll fucking pay you, cunt, like, and it's like, bro, it's not about that.
Do you know?
It's
Have to
not
spill money, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you want cash?
why are we speaking like
bro.
this
Like
when we talk? When
it
we're
happens
talking
a
about
lot, man. But like we got to understand where they're coming from as well.
Yeah.
But they got to understand where we're coming from as well. So.
Yeah, man, 100%. Fucking dope. Any more questions? That was it.
Just a lot of people saying, props. You guys are doing really good, great achievements. Shout outs to Patrick Wardlaw. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's just saying, congrats, boys, for killing it.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah. All right, cool, man.
Cheers.
Guys, fucking thank you so much for coming down, man.
Thanks
been
for inviting
Thank you.
us.
Thanks for
man.
having us.
Thank you, man.
an absolute thanks for the surprise visit, Tyson.
No worries, bro.
You're always welcome to surprise visit me.
Damn,
you know.
who knows who I'll come on with next?
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Next week.
Imagine it just becomes.
Whoa! You guys
Hey,
took it out
and
of
he's coming on everyone.
context.
Yeah.
Wait, what? No, what? Finally, someone's eating the Doritos other than me. Socials, Ron.
Oh yeah. So Ronstagram
That's it,
on
Ronstagram.
Instagram.
Yep.
For my tattoos, it's just _ Lord Mayor Tattoos.
Lord Mayor Tattoos.
Yeah, hectic.
Oh, and also check our studios out. So Skin Deep Tattoo
Mm-hmm.
in Newtown,
Newtown.
and Kai Lewis Studio in the city.
We'll try and get those up on the YouTube link and all that sort of shit. So yeah, thank you very much, and we're the fuck out.
Oh, I want to suck your dick.
No, no!